Cecily, roll call, please.
Counselor Augsburger,
Here.
Counselor Bronson, Counselor Hagee, Counselor Richards, Counselor Sanchez,
Here.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Here.
Mayor Coleman.
Present. Let the record show that we have 4 present. Okay. We're going to move on, and maybe the 2 others that are trying to call in will be able to join us. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. There are 3 sets of minutes in the consent agenda. You can pull one out to discuss, or you can make a motion to approve all.
So moved as recommended.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger.
Yes. Let the record show that we have 4 ayes and no nays to approve the consent agenda. Moving on, recognition of visitors and hearing of petitions. We have Robert Egner who would like to come forward. Robert, you can come to the microphone up here and state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Robert Egner, and my address is 28628 Ridgeway Road. Recently, an elected councilor that campaigned on supporting small businesses is now running a local car wash into the dirt on Facebook and writing a long-winded post about a local new restaurant, their terrible service, and while being understaffed, garnering tons of comments to hurt the business. The same councilor that chastised a previous councilor that in hindsight has legitimate medical issues for doing the same thing is now supports mocking businesses, pages, local community members, and doing it publicly. The same councilor chastised a current councilor about his Facebook rants. Councilors and council actions is now happy to rant, make boasts riddled with known lies, which he commented on previously, and is happy to wage an attack on a fellow councilor that he previously supported his race. I find these actions disgraceful, distasteful for an elected official that ran on accountability of others. Where is your accountability?
Mr. Egner.
Yeah.
According to council rules that we have in our charter, and on our city council rules, is we're not allowed to have public comment that's directed at an individual. Comments are supposed to go for the entire council, not single member or a single staff member. So if you would like to address your comments to the entire council, that would be permitted.
Okay. Okay, yes, it is your First Amendment right as councilors to write and act and say things. Lies may get you an outcome you wish, but I believe it discredits this body and hurts this town. I believe that the voters deserve the respect to not be lied to and deserve the respect of having good humans serve on this body. I believe the voters have the expectation for councilors that say that they support building businesses up, support local infrastructure, support the rights of local voters, that they act in a way that does those things. I believe that our councilors as a whole are not doing that currently, is not doing that, and I hope that this body will have the expectation that he or she does better in the future. Thank you. Simply do better.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda, we have new business, and we have a long list of things on the agenda. So let's get started. Request for council action adopting the action plan for the fiscal year 2024 audit.
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, I will hand that off to Finance Director Brown for a presentation.
Thank you. The audit for fiscal year 24 is now completed. It's included in your packet. Within that audit are 2 items that require a council action, which are an identification of 2 weaknesses. One is for failure to properly reconcile accounts in a timely manner. This has been on the past couple audits mainly because we're backed up and we're trying to get current. So you'll see that again on the upcoming audit as well as we get back to being on our current schedule for status with the state of Oregon. The other weakness was a failure to submit financial statements in a timely manner. Obviously, another item that you've seen before in past audits. As we get current, those weaknesses will go away on future audits. But for council action tonight, once you approve it, this will be sent to the Secretary of State along with our audits that's included in the packet for you tonight. And fiscal year 24 is basically done. And we will get started on fiscal year 25 here in probably about 2 or 3 weeks.
Thank you so much for that report. And thank you to you and to Cindy for all the hard work you guys have put into trying catching us up. Any comments or questions of counselors?
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
I'm just so excited. We're one more closer to the next. Thank you.
It's good news. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved as recommended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the action plan for fiscal year 2024 audit. Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson, Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez. Yes. President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman.
Yes, let the record show that we have 5 yeses and no nays. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, request for council action resolution number 7 for 2026, adopting the library laptop lending policy.
We'll hand this over to Library Director Daisy.
So with a recent grant that we were awarded, one of the conditions is to have a laptop lending policy because the grant allows for the library to purchase 10 laptops and 10 tablets for circulating amongst the community. So the purpose of this RCA is to request City Council approval of a new laptop lending policy as part of our library policy manual. The library board has looked at this policy on April 9th and on May 21st, and they propose moving forward with it written as is.
Do we have any questions of counselors or comments? I will entertain a motion.
So moved as recommended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the library laptop lending policy and amending the library policy manual. Any discussion? Just kidding. Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez. Yes. President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson.
Let the record show that we have 5 yeses and no nays to approve resolution number 7. Request for council action.
You can't hear me.
What's that?
Oh,
Are you there,
Can you
Counselor
hear me?
Bronson? I can hear you now.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know why. I've been trying to talk for the last 5 minutes, but it's now working. I called back 3 times.
That's
That
all
was
right.
a
I'm glad
yes,
that you
so
got through.
put
That
me
was a
down
yes.
as yes. Put me down as current. Thank you.
Okay. That would be 6 yeses for resolution number 7. Moving on. Request for council action approving a contract with ODOT for the Mountain View Road multi-use path project.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, Council, this is kind of an exciting one. So yeah, this is to request a contract approval with ODOT to begin the preliminary engineering phase of the Mountain View project, where we want to put some sidewalks in between the top of the hill there near the junior high, at least down to the bottom where 18th and Ames Creek are at. So just a little context, in 2024, we were selected to receive funding through ODOT for the Mountain View Multi-Use Path Project. ODOT performed the project scoping in 2025. They refined the scope based on available funding for an estimated project total cost of $1,950,000. So the project will span 4 years from preliminary engineering to construction, beginning in 26-27. So like the Challenger problem, so the project area is adjacent to the Sweet Home Junior High, and as we all know, that has a lot of pedestrian foot traffic there. We see kids walking there all the time, and it would be great to have a sidewalk there. And plus, the city must enter into an agreement with ODOT in order for work to begin on the project. As far as the financial piece, so a local match is required. The city's requirement for the engineering phase is $29,269.50. The city's total required match across all 4 years of the project is estimated to be about $200,265. So yeah, and all of that has been budgeted for in our capital improvement plan. So we have that ready to go when this project is ready to move forward. And so staff recommends option 2 to approve the contract as proposed.
Any questions or comments of counselors?
I have a question. This is Ken, or a comment.
Yeah, go ahead,
We have a
Counselor
match
Bronson.
of, we have a match of 200,000 roughly on almost 1,950,000. That's a pretty good investment. I support it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Can you remind me, is this what Blair worked for us to receive?
It absolutely is. And
Yay, and we finally get to get it done.
You
So
guys have
exciting.
done a
Thank
lot
you.
of work since then.
Well,
so
yeah,
I
but-
applied for it. You guys took the ball though. That's good.
teamwork.
Good job. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions of counselors? I too am excited about this as I see the foot traffic and I think it'd be very helpful. It's also exciting that it happens to be on the same agenda as another item that is school directed. So, counselors, you can make a motion.
So moved as
So moved.
recommended.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee.
Let the record show that there are 6 ayes and no nays to approve this contract with ODOT. Now moving on to the next item on the agenda is public hearing and request for council action resolution number 8 for 2026. So
I'll hand this over to Finance Director Brown.
Thank you again. So every year, the city needs to hold a public hearing to allow residents to speak on the use of revenue sharing that it receives from the state. This public hearing is specifically for those revenues and not for the entire budget. The specific revenue sharing that the city receives from the state is general revenue sharing, cigarette tax, proportion of OLCC taxes, and marijuana tax. Those 4 together bring in proposed in the next budget about $355,000. Right now, the city allocates those funds all within the general fund to help support departments such as administration, finance, municipal court, parks, community and economic development, and a number of other departments. So this is just an opportunity for the public to give any thoughts and opinions on how those funds should specifically be spent.
okay, so I will be opening up this public hearing at 6:43 p.m. We've heard the staff report, and I would invite any testimony from those in favor of this. Is there anyone present to provide testimony opposed to this? And I now invite anybody to provide testimony for those that are neutral. Hearing none, we'll move on where we can deliberate on this item. Is there any questions of counselors? I have only one item that I. Go ahead, Counselor Bronson.
This is Ken. Could I speak,
Yes.
Madam? Okay, on this, this is basically just a requirement, as I understand it. If we want to receive money from the state, that we must, sign off on this. And of course, I support taking money for our projects from the state. So I do support it in that respect. Am I seeing something different about this, or this is essentially not much more than a formality? Is that not correct?
That is correct. You are correct on all of those. Yes. I do have
Okay,
one
so
thing
let
that I.
me rephrase it. I strongly support it.
Okay, we'll call for a vote in a minute regarding it. I do have one thing that I noticed, and it's on our packet, and I didn't notice it earlier. I want to apologize. There's a typo. It just says it's resolution number 18 on the actual document. If you can remove the one, that'd be great. If there's no other comments of counselors, we will close this public hearing at 6:45 p.m. I can now entertain a motion.
I call for the motion.
I have a motion,
Second.
and now I have a second. Any discussion of counselors? Hearing none, Cecily, please call for a vote.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez.
Yes. Let the record show that we have 6 ayes and no nays to approve resolution number 8 for 2026. Next item on the agenda is request for council action resolution number 9 for 2026, certifying services to receive state revenues.
And I'll also hand this off to Finance Director Brown.
So similar to the last item, again, we have to certify from you as the city council that the city is going to provide a certain number of services to receive those said state shores revenue sharing. The city must provide at least 4 of the following services: police, fire, street construction, maintenance and lighting, sanitary sewer, storm, planning, zoning, or subdivision control, and 1 or more utility services. Obviously, the city offers at least 4 of those services, so you are able to receive state shared revenue that you reviewed or approved in the last resolution. So this is the resolution just certifying that you are providing at least 4 of those services.
Any comments or questions from counselors?
I have a comment. Since we supply all of those services, I support it.
Technically, fire protection is provided by the fire district, which is not under the city of Sweet Home. But yes, we do provide most of those that are listed underneath there. So I think we're doing fairly well.
I stand corrected. Less 1. So.
Okay. Yeah. Does the counselor want to make a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Cecily, please call for a vote.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad.
Yes.
Let the record show that we have 6 ayes and no nays to approve resolution number 9 for 2026. Next item, request for council action resolution number 10 for 2026, adopting the fiscal year 26-27 budget.
And I will also hand this off to Finance Director Brown.
The city held 2 days of budget committee meetings just a little while ago. The budget committee approved the budget. It is now in the city council to adopt the city budget for next year, starting in July 1st, 2026. The budget resolution with the breakout of departments and property taxes or permanent tax rates and the local option tax rates are listed in the resolution as well. Those get sent to the county that go on the tax rolls for this upcoming year. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions for the adopted budget.
Any questions or comments from counselors?
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'd like to recuse myself from voting on the personnel services for the Parks Department and the financial.
Thank you, Counselor Heggie, for letting us know you're recusing yourself for that section. In light of that, we will be pulling just the personnel services for the Parks Department and Finance Department, and we will be making having a vote just on that portion by itself. But any other comments or questions of counselors regarding the budget in its entirety?
I have one comment. This is Ken. On a budget that's roughly $43,900,000 and change, which is only up $127,000 from the previous year. That's a pretty small increase. I'm pleased to see that it is such a small increase. I'm done.
Right. I will entertain a motion and a second for the budget of the Personnel Services and for the Parks Department and Finance Department.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the budget for the Personal Services for the Parks Department and Finance Department. Any discussion? Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman.
Yes, let the record show that we have 5 ayes and 1 recusal for the approval of the budget for personal services for the Parks Department and Finance Department. Next, we will look at the rest of the budget, and there is some recommended changes from staff.
We just are proposing 2 changes since the approval by the Budget Committee. One, some of the funds that were dedicated in this year's current budget for Weddell Bridge were accidentally moved back to the PATH program. So we're proposing moving that $250,000 back to Weddell, just restoring what's in it right now. And then also moving in all the SDC funds, moving anything that was in unappropriated into contingency so that we have access to those in case we need them for the LID project or other capital projects. But no amounts are changing.
Any questions or comments from counselors regarding those recommended changes?
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
So can you show me on where's the SDC funds contingency, the value on here the dollar amount? Parks SDC?
We're proposing it for all of the SDC funds. I can find which page that is for you in your packet real quick.
They're listed out individually.
Do you want me to go through each fund? Okay. Counselor, for the SDC Water Fund, the contingency amount was originally proposed as $100,000 with $1,168,000 in unappropriated funds. So we are moving and combining that unappropriated into contingency for water SDCs. So that total for water SDC will be $1,268,000. For the sewer SDC, it was originally proposed $100,000 in contingency with $935,000 in unappropriated. So we're combining those all into contingency for a total of $1,035,000. In Storm SDC, it was originally proposed with $50,000 in contingency and $42,000 in unappropriated amounts. So the Storm SDC contingency in the proposed changes would be $92,000. The transportation SDC was originally proposed as $100,000 in contingency with $1,450,000 in unappropriated funds. So we'll be combining those for a contingency amount of $1,550,000. And then there are Parks SDCs that was originally proposed with $100,000 in contingency and $40,000 for unappropriated. So in the new budget with these proposed changes, the contingency for Parks SDC would be $140,000. Now, again, when we move money into contingency, we still have to come back to the City Council to actually move those into any kind of appropriations for any professional services or capital projects that are to be done. This just makes those funds available if projects come available, as Cecily mentioned, with the LID project or any capital improvement projects that may be eligible for SDC use.
Okay, so that's like $3-4 million?
Correct.
And this is for the LID?
Potentially for the LID that's been marked, as well as any capital projects that may come up during next fiscal year that may be SDC eligible. So it's just making funds available.
So the LID can take money from every fund and appropriate it for that project?
Not all of them. So for example, parks, SDC couldn't be used for that. This is just a strategy that we've done the last couple of years because again, putting it into contingency rather than keeping it in unappropriated gives us that funding flexibility. So for example, for the LID, we may be able to use some streets funding, we may be able to use some storm funding, we may be able to use some sewer funding. So we're still working through that funding. But if we leave it in unappropriated as it is now, then we are not able to touch that for that or any other project this fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of counselors?
I have one question. So regardless, okay, this essentially gives you the flexibility, much more flexibility to use those funds, but it's still, any use of these funds still must be approved by council. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the remainder of the budget with the amendments as recommended.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the remainder of the budget with the amendments as recommended. Any discussion? Hearing none, Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger.
Yes.
Let the record show that we have 6 ayes and no nays to approve the remainder of the budget. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, request for council action resolution number 11 for 2026 Sportsman's Holiday Parade street closure.
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, what you have before you is a request for council action for street closure for the Sportsman's Holiday Parade. Looking through this, there's no changes from what we've done in the past years, but nonetheless, I'm just going to kind of lay it out so you know what you're voting on here. So the parade route is going to be the same. So from 22nd Avenue to Main Street, down Main Street, back on 10th Avenue, and then all the way back up Long Street towards 22nd Avenue. So it's the same loop that we've done for years. Public Works is going to put some no parking signs out at 7 a.m. For street closure at 10 a.m. and the following streets will be closed at 10:30. So 12th Avenue and Main, 12th Avenue and Long, 13th and Main, 13th and Long, 15th and Main, 15th and Long, 18th and Main, 18th and Long, and 22nd Avenue and Main Street and Long Street. And so, yeah, I mean, the parade probably takes about an hour or so, and it'll be shut down like years past, just long enough to keep people safe and keep the parade moving. And staff recommends option 2 to approve the application as proposed.
Great. Any questions or comments of counselors? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved as recommended.
Second.
I have a motion and a couple of seconds to approve this resolution number 11. Any discussion? Hearing none, Cecily, please call for a vote.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson.
Yes.
Let the record show that there are 6 ayes and no nays to approve resolution number 11. I also want to just say thank you to city staff, the PD and Public Works for accommodating these kind of community events. I know it takes effort and I appreciate it. Moving on, requests for council action, first reading of ordinances. We're going to go into a public hearing regarding the zoning map amendment application ZMA 26-01 and property line adjustment application PLA 26-02. It is now open at 6:59 p.m. The applicable substantive criteria are listed in the staff report. Testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed toward the criteria described or other criteria in the applications or land use regulation which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Are there any counselors who have any personal bias, conflict of interest, or ex parte information regarding this application? I'm going to go down the list. Counselors, President Pro Tem,
No.
Counselor Augsburger,
No.
Counselor Sanchez,
Nope.
Counselor Hagee,
Nope.
and Counselor Bronson.
No.
Thank you. It's time for staff to present about this.
I will hand this off to Building Manager Clegg.
Good evening, counselors. All right, before you, we have a zone map amendment application. Typically, you guys don't see the property line adjustments with them, but when you have two applications which are a higher type, you hear them both together. So you will be hearing both applications and voting on them at the same time. So I'll go through kind of a summary staff report for you, and then you have any questions after that. So the purpose of this RCA is to hold a public hearing on a zone map amendment application, ZMA 25-01, and property line application, PLA 26-02. Decide on the applications and, if approved, conduct the first reading of the ordinance. The applicant is requesting approval of two related actions, a property line adjustment, PLA 26-02, and zone map amendment, ZMA 26-01. Together, these requests involve transferring approximately 2,687 square feet from tax lot 10100, currently zoned residential high density R3, to the adjacent Sweet Home High School property on tax lot 09100, zoned public facility. The school district intends to acquire this adjusted area for future career-focused education programs or improvements aimed at enhancing student safety. The proposal would also align the zoning of the transferred property with the existing comprehensive plan designation for school district facilities. Subject property A, which is tax lot 09100, is approximately 11.87 acres, which is 517,057 square feet, and is zoned public facility. Subject property B, which is tax lot 10100, is approximately 15,980 square feet and zoned residential medium density. Following the proposed adjustment, property A will increase to 11.93 acres or 519,744 square feet, while property B will be reduced to approximately 13,293 square feet. Both properties contain existing structures and no new development is proposed as part of either application. Existing access, utilities, and sidewalks will remain unchanged, with both properties already served by city water and sewer. A review of the FEMA flood insurance rate map panel 41043C0913G dated September 29, 2010 confirms that neither property lies within the special flood hazard area. Statewide wetlands inventory mapping shows intermittent perennial drainage associated with Cotton Creek running through the broader area. The property line adjustment would transfer 2,687 square foot portion of tax lot 10100 to tax lot 9100. Without creating new parcels or vacating any existing lots, in accordance with the Sweet Home Municipal Code 17.92. After the adjustment, property A will maintain an average width of approximately 973 feet and a depth of approximately 636 feet. Property B will have an average width of 76 feet and a depth of approximately 225 feet. The adjustment will not place new property boundaries beneath existing structures, nor will it increase any existing nonconformities. The application is being processed concurrently with zone map amendment and is dependent on its approval. As a Type 4 review, the City Council is the final decision-making authority following a recommendation by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on May 7, 2026 and recommended approval of PLA 26-02. ZMA 26-01 requests a zoning change for the same 2,687 square foot area from residential high density R3 to public facility. This amendment is necessary to bring the zoning into compliance with the comprehensive plan designation for school district properties and to ensure the adjusted tract is consistent with the zoning of the receiving parcel on tax lot 9100. Educational facilities are permitted outright in the PF zone under Sweet Home Municipal Code 17.24.020, and existing single-family dwellings on the remaining portion of tax lot 10100 are allowed uses within the R3 zone. No development is proposed as part of the zone change. However, any future development must meet PF zone's development standards. The Planning Commission also recommended approval of ZMA 26-01 at its May 7th, 2026 hearing. Sweet Home High School is currently served by city water and sewer from Long Street, 18th Avenue, and the southern boundary of tax lot 9100. The dwellings on tax lot 10100 receive utility service from 18th Avenue. The proposal does not require new public street services, extensions, or changes to existing infrastructure. If approved, PLA 26-02 will require the following. Conditions of approval. 1, the final configuration of proposed properties A and B shall substantially conform to the plot plan submitted with the application, which is attachment B. The proposal transfers approximately 2,687 square feet from subject property B to subject property A. The adjustment will increase the subject property A to 11.93 acres and reduce subject property B to approximately 13,293 square feet. Number 2, approval of zone map amendment ZMA 26-01. Number 3, the adjusted property line shall be situated so that all buildings and structures comply with the standards of the residential high density and public facility zones. Sweet Home Municipal Code 17.10 and 17.24. The property line adjustment shall be surveyed and monumented as required by ORS Chapter 92. Documents must conform with the survey for the subject properties in accordance with ORS Chapter 92 and shall be recorded with Lynn County. A property line adjustment deed shall be recorded with Lynn County and contain the following: A, the names of the parties; B, the description of the adjusted line; C, references to original recorded documents; and D, signatures to original recorded documents. And and signatures of all parties with proper acknowledgement. My pardon. Number 5, development on the subject property shall comply with all applicable local, state, and federal requirements, including but not limited to all applicable fire code requirements and other development requirements of the Sweet Home Municipal Code at the time of development. Number 6, if the property line adjustment involves partition parcels or subdivision lots, a replat may be required. Multiple land use requests involving different processing types shall be heard and decided at the higher processing type per Sweet Home Municipal Code 17120.010. Both applications are subject to the Type 4 review procedures. The decisions must be based on the applicable review criteria and findings of fact outlined in the staff report. After opening the public hearing and receiving testimony, the City Council's options include the following. And actually, I'm going to jump over to, because Planning Commission procedure is different than City Council, and I put them both in here. My apologies. So your options are: 1, move to deny ordinance number 1 for 2026. The proposed zone map amendment and property line adjustment shall be denied. Number 2, move to conduct a first reading of ordinance number 1 for 2026 as proposed. If the first reading is unanimously approved, the second reading may be conducted by title only. And 3, move to conduct a first reading of ordinance number 1 for 2026 with amendments. City Council may propose revisions to the ordinance. Staff recommends option number 2, move to conduct a first reading of ordinance number 1 for 2026 as proposed. If there's any questions of staff.
Are there any questions of counselors that you may have? Counselors may have of staff? Hearing none. Yes,
I have one comment.
Councilor Bronson. Yes.
With the recent bond measure passing for a vast, let's say, change in that part of the high school, I think this is just a great piece to add with it, just to make that whole project a better project. So I support it.
Great. I'm moving on now to I will invite any testimony from the applicant. Does the applicant want to provide testimony? Yes, you can come forward to this seat here. State your name and your address for the record, please.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Strong, and my address is 40120 Crawfordsville Drive, Sweet Home. First, thank you for this opportunity. And also, we live in an amazing, very supportive community, and we definitely, as a school district, appreciate that. This will allow us really to address a couple of concerns that were big in the bond project. One, student safety. And so I think sometimes we think of student safety as just, what are we doing to protect the students inside the building? Part of that is transportation too, and we're looking at an option where we can reduce bus congestion on Long Street and also in the west parking area. And so that's part of it. We also have another option too, where we could potentially use this property to place a greenhouse, which would help with our career tech education. So we're not certain yet which direction we're going, but this property would help us in both. And so we appreciate the opportunity to have you consider this, and I'm welcome to field any questions.
Any questions?
Madam Mayor, it's not a question, but I love that you're considering CTE opportunities. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Great.
Thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
Is there any other testimony from those in favor? Hearing none, moving on, I invite testimony from those opposed. Is there anybody present opposed? Hearing none, moving on, I will invite testimony from those that are neutral. Hearing none. We can discuss this item as a council now, if there's any comments you guys have. Want to echo Councillor Bronson's comments. I think that with what has passed from the public regarding the school and safety, but also I'm really grateful for the CTE programs that happen at the high school. I think they're beneficial, but also a greenhouse would be amazing. Transportation, I think all of those ideas will be helpful to our community. So any other comments from councilors? Hearing none, I will close this public hearing at 7:11 p.m. We can now make a motion if we so choose.
So move as recommended.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 1 for 2026, which means we will have the first reading of the ordinance. I think I left a motion and a second on the table and had them read this before actually calling for a vote. So I'm going to ask Cecily to call for a vote.
if I might interrupt, during the voting, you voted to approve the ordinance, but what actually needs to happen first is approval of the applications. It's a minor detail. It's understood that you're approving the ordinance or approving the zone change by approving the ordinance. However, there's the property line adjustment as well. So if you wouldn't mind having a vote on approving those two applications, as well as moving this for the ordinance forward, that would be best.
So for our technical purposes, we need to amend the motion.
That would work as well. So if you amend the motion to also approve ZMA 26-01 and PLA 26, no?
Oh, yes, sorry.
PLA was
6-02.
26-02. As well as, you had the vote already for the, no, you didn't vote at all. Okay. In that case, amend the motion, please, to approve ZMA 26-01, PLA 26-02, and move the ordinance forward for a second reading at the next council meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
So whoever made that motion, if you would like to amend your motion, you can. If you choose not to, we can just vote on the motion that's on the table at this point.
We can amend the motion as to what he said.
And whoever seconded the original motion, are you going to second the amended motion?
I'm willing to second the amended motion. I second.
Thank you so much. So now we are going to vote not only on the applications, both of them, but also on the ordinance. It has been read. I will call for, Cecily will call for a vote.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman.
Yes, let the record show that we are unanimous in our vote to approve both of the applications and also the reading of the first or ordinance number 1 for 2026. We will have the second reading for this ordinance, since City Attorney Larson has suggested it, at the next council meeting. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. Do I need to have a vote to have that moved on as well, or was that included in there, or do I have to have a second vote on that one? Okay, so we're going to call for a vote, or call for a motion, if somebody would like to make the motion, to move this to second reading at the next council meeting. Anybody?
Or can they do the second reading by title tonight?
We can, but he actually said in his statement, it was he was
I'm sorry.
amending the motion, and he actually said to move it to next week, and the recommended changes were just, the motion was just as recommended.
Despite what I said previously, it is an option to you, since the voting was unanimous, to have the second reading by title only at this meeting. You would just need a vote to do that.
Okay, so if somebody wants to make a motion to read the ordinance by title only tonight for the second time, you can do so.
I'd like to make a motion to read the ordinance a second time by title only.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to read ordinance number 1 by title only for the second time tonight. And Cecily's going to vote. Call for a vote.
Counselor Sanchez,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee.
Yes.
Let the record show that we have 6 ayes and no nays to read ordinance number 1 by title only for the second time tonight.
Ordinance Bill number 1 for 2026, ordinance number blank, an ordinance amending the official zoning map.
Okay, so since we were unanimous, again, we actually can make one more motion to move this to the next council meeting for the third reading. If somebody would like to make that motion.
I make a motion to move this to the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cecily's going to call for a vote on having this read for the third time at the next council meeting.
President Pro Tem Thorstad,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Augsburger,
Yes.
Counselor Bronson,
Yes.
Counselor Hagee,
Yes.
Counselor Sanchez.
Yes.
Let the record show that we have 6 ayes and no nays to move this for the third reading at the next council meeting. Next item on the agenda is reports of committees. We have a few reports that are in there. Any counselors who serve on those committees that would like to highlight them, please feel free to do so at this time.
Madam Mayor, am I allowed to speak into minutes that are on there for a different committee?
Mhm.
So the Park and Tree Committee, if Counselor Heggie isn't going to say anything about it, I read the minutes and I just want to bring up a couple things that I was wondering about. I've gotten some calls from members of the committee, and so they have some frustrations. I don't know how we can give them some pride and ownership. I know they want to have shirts. I don't know how much that cost. I know they want to have a pie eating contest. I know I really missed having the pie eating contest last time. I don't really know all the inner workings of the committee, so can somebody help explain that to me, please?
Yeah, we actually ended up meeting with the chair for Park and Tree and explained to the chair that we're just trying to be consistent with all our committees. And I understand that, you know, Park and Tree wants to have some T-shirts and whatnot, but, you know, at what point are we going to be providing T-shirts for all committees? And we just, you know, we want to be good with our budget. And so I think one of the things that was a little bit frustrating is I know that the beautification, there was some confusion there. The beautification committee went out and purchased their own T-shirts and then requested staff to reimburse them, and we're not doing that. And so they were upset with that. Park and Tree found out that they had purchased their own T-shirts and wanted to have the same thing. And so we're just trying to be consistent across all committees, because once we start something with one committee, then, you know, we're going to have this obligation to do it with all committees, and we don't want to set that standard.
So can they or can they not have shirts made for themselves?
So what did we decide on?
So there are two issues with that. The first issue is that use of city logo requires authorization. And it's not that we wouldn't necessarily be willing to authorize the use of the logo, but it also gets into the issue of fairness. If there are some members that are able to afford to purchase it for themselves, that's great. If there are others that can't, then they might be left out. Obviously, sometimes we have folks step up that are willing to donate for those kinds of things. But again, once we start it, then we have pretty frequent turnover on committees. So then we've locked ourselves into trying to make sure that every single person gets the same thing indefinitely. And that's just not something that we're committing to for all our committees at this point.
There would also be staff time involved in actually collecting those shirts with logos. If the logo policy is violated, then that's, I think, would be challenging for staff. Because people are not allowed to wear the logo at certain times. Even staff have a, if I understand correctly, isn't there the policy, doesn't it cover like staff can only wear it at certain times as well? And so committee members would be, yeah.
And Mayor, I can address the pie. So it's actually the pie bake-off. We haven't done a pie eating contest for however long I've been here, 8 years. But the reason why it didn't happen last year is because we didn't have enough people sign up. And we got within about 2 weeks of the pie bake-off, and I had to cancel it because we didn't have enough people signed up to do it. This year, they are all on board. They've raised donations, so I don't see a reason unless people don't sign up for it. So there's no indication that it's going to be canceled.
Thank you. I loved being a judge at the pie eating contest. I don't know what it's called, so, but I did miss that last year. So you're going to go for a no for the shirts, even if somebody pays for it?
I wouldn't say that it's a hard no. I think the concern, what Cecily was saying, is if you have members of the committee that feel obligated to buy a shirt and they can't afford it, that's a concern on our part. But if you have somebody that is willing to purchase those shirts, then I think I'm open to that.
Yeah, I would love some people in the community to step up, possibly if there was a way to help them have some pride and ownership, because there's a lot of hurt feelings over those shirts. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Any counselors who serve on the Library Advisory Board or the Park and Tree Committee want to speak to any of those items? Hearing none, are there any directors who would like to point out any of their reports or meeting minutes? We'll just move on
This
to.
is Ken.
Yes.
I have a comment back on the shirts there. I'm not on either one of those committees, but I do support if funds were raised not from the city, in another means like the donations, and the donations were enough to cover every member, that I would support that. That would help, build some unity within those committees. So I would leave it, personally, I'd like to leave it open that way. If money comes, not city money, and not a requirement that everybody on the committee buy it, but if someone donated enough funds to cover for all, I would support that.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda, department reports. We have 4 department reports from our library and planning and building and public works and finance. Any directors want to highlight items on their reports?
I just want to highlight that June 13th is the Safety and Fair and Library Summer Reading Kickoff at Sankey Park from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll have hot dogs, popcorn, free bike raffle, free bike helmets, and a lot of other things happening. And that's when we will officially start our summer reading program.
To add on to that, June 12th is our first movie in the park. We have Zootopia 2 in Sankey Park. So that kicks off movies in the park.
Any other directors? Any other questions from counselors?
Madam Mayor, may I?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make a note when I read the Public Works that we haven't had any violations from the wastewater treatment plant in 22 months. That's really impressive. Thank you.
Since we put those hurricane units and did all that work with the new sludge tank, the new screen press, and then we bought those hurricane units from Lebanon and put them in it'll be 2 years, late July, August. And we've been in compliance since that August, process-wise, not rain-wise, but process-wise for sure.
Well done. I noticed. Well done.
I also wanted to thank Director Daisy for putting the history of the library in your policy or your packet there. It was really interesting to read, and I appreciated reading about that. So thank you for including that. Any other comments or questions of counselors to department directors?
I echo the earlier comments about 22 months without a violation. Good job, Public Works.
I also want to say, Public Works, thank you for continuing your leak detection program and finding more leaks and fixing them. I know that's been something that's always a headache in our community, and I'm just grateful for your guys' continued work on that. So, moving on, reports of city officials. City managers report.
Madam Mayor, Council, I would just add just a note to the safety fair that it's the same day as Shred Day. So we usually have had a shredder truck at the safety fair, but it's a little bit easier for it to park. We're going to put it in front of the PD. That way you can just drive up right to the truck and, get rid of your documents and have them shredded. So same day as the safety fair, same times as the safety fair. So if anyone out there has documents you need shredded and you've been saving up, that's the day and time to do it. And so we're ready for it. I just want to mention that the e-recycling event, thank you, Adam, for hanging out here while that was going on. It was, according to Adam, it was a huge success. So they were able to stay open the entire time, but they filled up all their bins, and the public really took advantage of that. And so just wanted council to know that. And then the last thing I would note is we had Officer Leon Vineyard graduate from the police academy on Friday. And so congratulations to him. And we're looking forward to him being plugged into training here and finishing that out so he can be on solo patrol. So.
Okay, moving on, that's the mayor's report. And I just want to say thank you again to Cindy and Director Brown for working on the audit and getting us caught up. It's something that's important to all of us, and we're grateful for your dedication and sticking to it. I also want to thank the beautification committee and the volunteers for planting the flowers in the median and the public works for delivering them and making that happen. It looks really good. I also want to thank Eli and Amy Byler and Bonnie Neal for planting the flag flower, the American flag shaped flowers at Clover Park. If you haven't seen them, I'd suggest taking a look at those. And Patty Holk and Candy Snyder for organizing all of those things and the creative ideas. I think the town looks wonderful, so I just want to thank you all for doing that. Next item on the agenda is council business for the good of the order. Any councilors have business that is for the good of?
Yes, I do. I would like to say thank you to the Charter Committee for working hard and diligent many days, many months to get the charter change and getting it on the ballot and it passing. I just want to say thank you to everybody, including the chair that's sitting over there, or the vice chair. And that's all I got.
Any other council business for the good of the order? Hearing none, I will close this meeting out at 7:30 p.m.